Hello. This is partly just a test to see if my streaming works alright on this phone, because it was freezing up and giving me a lot of problems. And I took my phone to the AT&T store, and they were just like, well, would you like to buy some DirecTV? It's like, no, my iPhone isn't working, and it's almost paid off. Work now. Like, we can sell you a new one. Like, I don't want a new phone. I like the 6S. I don't plan on ever getting one of your non-headphone jack having phones. Anyway, what brought about this problem when it really started popping up was I was trying to make a video about, you know, what was behind the lyrics of the songs that I wrote, you know. I like liner notes in albums, and I don't have any in any that I have, so I was like, well, and there's one guy in particular that my friend knows, and he was like, well, where was he coming from with this song? I'm just like, I don't know, you'll have to ask him. Well, here's a video about that. So thankfully it looks like things are streaming all right. Now I got a ways before I'm home. Hopefully it's not too noisy in here, that this becomes unwatchable or unlistenable or what have you. But anyway, we're just gonna start with Play Hard. Let's go down the track listing here, starting with Even in McLeansboro. Now this is a song about a girl with very strong facial features. I'll just say that. She's very strong facial features, and I liked her a great deal, and thought her to be quite something. And I figured, well, if I write a song for her, then you know, she'll have to date me, and she didn't, and that's fine. That's just fine. I'm in a very happy relationship now. Oh my God, I'm going, dude. Oh my God, interstate. This is kind of a funny story. It seems like I was trying to do like creative things to get this girl to date me, and I was in an illustration class at the time that this call it a crush, if you will, was developing, and I was like, well, I'm gonna do a picture. I'm gonna do an illustration with our astrological signs, which wouldn't have worked anyway, because for some reason I thought Sagittarius was a water type, but it's actually fire, so we were both fire type. And I'm not going to get into what the stupid ass picture I was going to do it, but midway through making this image, it became clear that this girl was not going to date me, and so but she thought that I was still making this picture, but I ended up making a picture kind of based around, I don't know if you ever read Last Exit to Brooklyn by Hubert Selby Jr., but the first chapter is called The Queen is Dead, about a tranny, essentially. And not to be unpolitically correct, that's just the best terminology I can think of to use for this particular story and this particular character. Yeah, about a young man's struggle with cross-dressing and drug addiction. And yeah, so I drew of a hairy-legged man like on a chair, and he had like a shotgun in his mouth, and there's like a big blood splatter behind his head in the shape of a heart, and there was like a little it was for Valentine's Day. That's what it was. It was near Valentine's Day, and there was like a duffel bag sitting next to him with like a little like paper hearts in it, and a bunch of like little blue pills like scattered around, and like a smoking shotgun shell. So which wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, because like I don't think it like ejects like it does out of like a gun, like a Glock. If you got a Glock and you shoot it, the shell comes out, but that doesn't work for a shotgun. You have to cock it after you fire to get the shell out. But anyway, so anyway, this girl comes into the illustration class thinking she's gonna see the picture that I drew for her. There's a fucking tranny who's committed suicide. Oh my god, she's like, that's not. I don't remember what she said, but she wasn't impressed. Oh man. So anyway, that's Even in McLeansboro. I'm from McLeansboro, so there's that. So then there's That Girl. That's the next song listing. And some might think that this was an actual experience I had, but it's not. I never was actually I never was actually the, well, let's just say it never happened specifically, and what it was really motivated by was my sister had a real bad bout of alcoholism there for a few years, and whenever we were drinking one time, you know, we're at a bar and we were kind of talking about that girl, you know, that idea of that girl, you know, we all know we're talking about, you know, where she's too drunk, she's acting a fool, she needs people to help her stand up, and things of that sort. And so it just kind of, it's not about my sister, obviously, but it's just about, like, that girl, you know, and, like, essentially just my feelings about, like, you know, just hoping that that girl finds somebody there to take care of her. It isn't going to sexually assault her while she's blackout drunk. And, I guess in a way, you know, I did get really drunk with my sister one time, and she got blackout drunk, and she attacked me violently and screamed, "I hate you," and it was really, like, really emotionally, like, traumatizing. And she did it again another time, and it just really made me unhappy. And after she attacked me, I went to her room and talked to her, and we had kind of a conversation. I got her feeling better, you know, and she apologized and stuff. But then it just kind of, when you're trying to connect with somebody and maybe you feel like you've connected, and then the next day they're like, they don't remember any of it, you know, even like the good conversation. It's just kind of disheartening. And that's kind of my feeling about drinking in general. It's like whenever you get drunk, you're open to different things you wouldn't be open to, and then when it's like if you're like real heart to heart, but then like the next day, weird, you know, everything feels kind of weird, and that connection isn't there anymore, which is something that gets touched on later in junior year. I'm actually going to take off my seatbelt here while driving down the interstate so I can take this heavy ass jacket off. I'm burning up. So that'll be fun. Pays pretty good. Nice long commute. Maybe I'll have more time to vlog. Driving vlogs. Whenever I was 16, I got a video camera, and it was a real, like, primitive one. It actually had those little tapes. You ever see those? They're just it was a real, like, awkward in-between sort of technology, because they weren't even those little tapes that you can put into one of those VHS, into those big VHS things, where it's like got the big VHS and then it's got the little thing you can put the little VHS. It wasn't even one of those. I don't know what device plays those, and I don't really like the way my hair looks in this either. Oh, vanity. I've been doing vlogs on another channel, and I'm like, where's my hat? I have to have my hat on if I'm going to be doing this vlog. I just don't feel right doing this without my hat. I don't like my hair just being there. So, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, when I first got that camera, I went to town. I went to McLeansboro from where I lived in the country, and my first impulse was I was like setting the camera on the dashboard, trying to do like a driving vlog. I was like, I don't ever see anybody do driving vlogs. Well, 10 years later, that's definitely a thing. But it was funny because it was like it was sitting on the like curved dash, and like every minute it would like fall. I'd be like trying to catch it. Oh man! If you go to Jazon999, that's Jazon 999. There's a video called Milkshake, and I'm going too fast. I'm gonna burn through my gas too fast. This job is like 50 miles away, so I'm gonna definitely have to watch my speed so I can conserve gas. But yeah, milkshake time. That's the only segment left of my driving vlog that went on for probably like 2 hours. It was on my birthday. I just got a camera anyway. So drinking, connecting with people, then them forgetting. Boo. All right, moving on to Freak. Now, Freak was written around that same time. That not that this is necessary to the story of the song, but I just remember like having the song and going to my sister's house where she lived in a trailer park, and I'd go party over there. She'd always have parties at that trailer. But I remember that song existing at that time in its entirety. I was probably like 16. I might have been 15 actually. I don't really know how old I was. I was pretty young. I was probably 16. I don't want to give myself too much credit, but that was definitely, I think Freak was definitely the oldest song of anything that I've recorded since. Definitely. I guess I have the method and the practice, which I was pretty young when I wrote those. 16, I wrote quite a few 4-chord songs. Freak, though, is the one on Play Hard that's definitely the oldest. And, yeah, just, the kind of a big motivation behind making music in general for me was so that I remembered, because, when you're that age, especially by that fear that like I'd become disabled or ill, then once you're like in the hospital all the time, you don't get to be in school, you don't get to be around everybody, so you don't really have the opportunity to create a legacy, you know, which at the time, you know, when you're that young, and it's almost like the world's out there, you know, and you're in the house. My parents were pretty restrictive, so I was home a lot, you know, I wanted to be out, I wanted to go to friends' houses, and I wasn't able to. And yeah, I wasn't hardly able to at all, and so I just felt really held back. And I knew that, like, let's say if I was to die, then, you know, how many years would it be before people eventually forgot about me? You know, like, you know, my buddy George, he died 4 years ago, and I know, especially around these days, I've been thinking about him like every single day. And I was only around him for a year. You know, there are people who were around that guy for his whole life. And like, I'm sure there's you know, it's just like, he is such a personality, just such a, you know, and it's weird, you know, like, when people die, you know, people have, oh, he's such a great guy. It's like, literally, when he was still alive, like, I was thinking to myself, like, if this guy dies, me and these guys that we're hanging around with, we're not going to have like that unifying element. You know, I remember there was this one time we were at Dalton's house. He lived in this apartment, this downstairs apartment, and it was like me and like, I swear, like 6 or 7 other guys sitting in there. We were waiting for George. George went to the gas station to get a 40, and we're all just sitting there waiting for him. And really none of us are talking. And it just occurred to me, I was like, we don't have anything to talk about. We all just like George. George gets everything stirred up. Back to astrological signs, he was a wind type, Aquarius. And I'm a fire type, so George never shut up. He just never shut up. You're sitting in a car with George, he's always going to have something to talk about, something to say, some story, even if it was from like 6 years ago, and he's already told you 2 times. He's going to talk, he's going to tell you stories, he's going to bring something up. You never knew where the dude was coming from, you know? And like I said, he built himself a legacy in his, you know, far too short life. And at 14, I realized I didn't have that. There wasn't going to be a bunch of people being like, you know, oh, remember that one time, Jason? You know, if they did, it was going to maybe be some spastic thing I said in class, but they'd be like, you know, remember that one insane guy in class that drew weird shit, you know, but nobody there, you know what I mean? So, like, the idea of losing an arm, losing my face, losing my legs, and being unable to participate fully in life just really freaked me out. Like, I'd have legitimate panic attacks at night, laying in bed, just like, oh my God, you know, what if this happened? What if that happened? You know, I had like I had a near-death experience whenever I was, I think, 10 years old. I was at this, we always spent New Year's at this church, and every year at midnight, we'd go out and ring this bell. And so this year, I think it was year 2000 actually, maybe 2001, but I think it was like the millennium. But now it wouldn't have been the millennium because I would have been 8. It was probably like 2002 or something. But anyway, we ring the bell like normal, And then things are wrapping up. It's midnight. We're all about to leave. I go out there. I'm going to ring it one more time. And I ring the ever-loving fuck out of that bell. And the bolt holding this giant, it's a big bell, this giant iron bell snaps. They retrieved it later, and it's this rusted out bolt. And this bell just swings up over, you know, it's got like the wheel that's holding it on. It swings up over, and then that wheel's like, and that bolt slams into my head from like, I don't know, maybe 10 feet up. It hurts, but I actually still have like a bald spot. I don't know if you can see it. I'm technically driving, so I probably shouldn't be looking straight down while doing so. But you see anything? I don't know. I have a bald spot still in my head from where that bolt hit me. And that was very, you know, creepy too, you know, because it's like, I could have died at 10. At 10, hell no, I wasn't even going to I was going to a school where there were 4 boys in my class, with me included. You know, there's nobody. There'll be nobody now thinking about me, you know what I mean? At 10 years old, dying like that, just be one of those. I wouldn't be able to make any kind of mark on the earth at all, you know. And I wanted to be remembered. That's what, you know, that's where freak comes from. It's just like, because once you're in the hospital all the time, once you're disabled, once you require all this extra help, or you're missing your face, you know, and people have to like look past that. People aren't gonna look past it all the time. You're gonna be a bummer. You know, what if like my jaw came off? What if I got mouth cancer or something? You know, something terrible happened. Then you know, people aren't gonna be there as much. You know, I'm not going to have that connection with people. And you know, I really didn't get that genuine connection with friends. You know, I didn't really, you know, like Stand By Me as all those guys, you know, connecting. Or what's another example of just like dudes? Maybe It. I never watched all of It because it bored me. I don't like that movie. I think it's lame. I don't really like Stephen King's movies, honestly. Yeah, I think they're kind of weird. But I liked his books when I was younger. I'm getting way off topic here. But that connection with just dudes, you know, just that connection, like I'm part of a group, I have a friend group, you know. I didn't really, truly have that until I got to hanging out with George and Dalton and Wes and all those guys, Kyle, and, you know, until I was really, Brian and Brent, obviously, they're the ones who introduced me to all those guys. But I didn't really have a group, I didn't have a tribe until I was probably 20 to 21 years old. You know, and that would not have came to be if I'd just been the disabled guy. You know, not to say that they're shallow, but it's just I probably wouldn't, you know, the reason I met Brian, and he was in classes with me, but the reason that I guess it more so connected, the reason, it was because at Ren Lake, at the college we were at, I would go outside and I would play acoustic guitar and yell, you know, the way I sing. I was really bad back then too. I didn't understand my range, so I would be singing a song in like A minor, and that's like high. I've brought all my songs down to G minor. If it's like Lost for Chords, that's in G minor now. I can't sing it in C major, which is A minor. You know, I can't do that to myself anymore. But back then I'd be, I remember one time I was singing the Against Me song, Reinventing Axl Rose, and he sings that in F major. I brought it down to D major, and I was like, "We wanna bet!" Like at the top of my lungs cracked my fucking voice. And there's this one black guy. He was on the he's just like, yeah. After I did that, I just thought that was one of the weirdest things. Like, yeah. Oh man, ironic support for a voice crack. And yeah. So but anyway, I would do that at Ren Lake, and that's where I met people. You know, that's I guess technically I met Brent and Brian at Scholastic Bowl. I didn't really know them before then, so but that was just kind of I still attribute it to me playing music, you know. I still feel like that was a thing. It just kind of like brought people to me. Yeah, because I was playing, that's what it was, because I was playing music there, and I remember vividly, like, I was playing music there, that Britt and Brian were hanging out, listening, and then they're like, well, we're going to go eat lunch, and so I went with them to eat lunch with them, and that's where I met other people, too, you know, like, Britt Wildermuth and Ashley Webster and Molly Wilson, you know, we all, like, sat at the same table, and that was good times, and so, and Robbie Stanfield, and whatnot, so, you know, I met a lot of people doing that, but like I said, I wouldn't have been out in public and meeting other people like that if I'd, you know, been missing an arm. Would I have been sitting out there going, what do you want to, like, with no music, you know? So, yeah. That's what Freak is all about. And Brian likes the line, if I'm squirting pus and I'm all messed up, speaking tongues, I'm just all nuts. If I'm just ahead and I'm better off dead. Apparently Brian thinks that's really funny. I guess he he laughed a lot at one point, visualizing someone being just ahead and better off dead. And awkwardly enough, I believe I may have missed my exit talking to you on this interstate, which is going to possibly lengthen this video a bit because it's going to take me longer to get home. I might have to use the police officer's turnabout here. Is that what that is? I don't know if that is safe. It's pretty wet. We'll have to get off in Carmine. Fuck. I've done this before. Same thing. I'm actually sober right now. The last time I did that, I was really, really high. Anyway, so let's move on to Lost for Chords. Lost for Chords is kind of along the same lines. Instead of being disabled, it's about having too many responsibilities to be with the people you care about and build those relationships with people. I don't really know when I went about writing that one. I just know that sentiment is always going to be there, you know. Even now, you know, I have a family and I just got a job that I'm probably going to have to work 5 days a week, and which is something because usually I've only worked, well, technically I work midnight, so, and I work 3 days, and that requires a lot of sleep when I would otherwise be working a normal job. Regardless, though, I'm still separated from the people I want to be with. And I mean, nowadays, you know, with my friends and all, I don't see my friends, you know. I miss you guys, but I don't get to see them. I don't get to see, you know, Dalton, Wes, Scott, you know, I don't get to see those guys anymore. I miss that, you know. I miss, you know, the last time we saw each other was when we all went to John's house and did stuff that probably shouldn't disclose, but yeah, that was really kind of like the last, Tyler, yeah, Tyler, I miss hanging out with all those guys. I'm trying to think of everybody. Let's say John, I never really got to hang out with John a whole lot. We didn't. It's because like the summer of 2013 was when we all really hung out, and so it was like Brian, Brent. Of course, they weren't at John's. Was Brent at John's? Did Brent? Brent was there too, wasn't he? And Jacob, I've seen him recently. Brent was there too, though. Was he? Am I tripping? that would be funny. I think he might have been there, though. Oh, that's good. That's good. I'm glad that glad he got to. So we're. Oh, here's the McLeansboro exit. Okay, so at least I'm nearby. It's just coming in a different way. But yeah, so. I just don't get to see anybody. We're all busy and we all move around, you know. So, it's a shame. Kind of a bummer, you know. Oh, and I guess that song's technically about, like, my failed relationships as well, because technically the first half, or maybe the second half of that song is about, oh, there's just a lot of lines in that song. It's pretty self-explanatory. I don't feel like I have to explain it, you know. It's a pretty self-explanatory song. Just should say that those sentiments have not left. And with the love thing, maybe a little differently, because I have been in a relationship for about 4 years now. So when you're in new relationships, it's like after 4 months, it's like, did I say 4 months or 4 years? I've been in a relationship 4 years, but when you're in a relationship for like 4 months, after 4 months, it's kind of like, all right, you know, the novelty's worn off, and you know, now you have to really decide if you're going to dig your heels in and make this work, or if it's just going to be another one of those flings, you know. 4 months is usually about when things start to get stale. So yeah, that's what that's about. My advice for anybody who's having relationship problems, have children. Just get her pregnant, fuck her right in the pussy, without a condom, get her pregnant, and then she has to deal with you forever. And then it's just a matter of how well you handle the situation. Test yourself. Test how resilient you are. You know, she starts flying off the handle. Are you going to fly off the handle? Or are you just going to escalate the situation where you can, or are you going to let things go? You know? So I got 12 miles to go till I'm in McLeansboro. So let's speed things up a little bit. We're at Monster now. Monster, it was inspired by the city of Evansville. I played a lot of shows in Evansville, and maybe I had delusions as to how well those shows were going, but it felt like I was underappreciated. And not only that, but it felt definitely like the crowd wasn't doing what it's supposed to do. You know, I'm obsessed with mosh pits. I love fucking mosh pits. And not throwing elbows, crowd killing. I'm talking like go to a Dead Milkman show, Dead Milkman show, and experience that mosh pit of people who look like me, you know, just a bunch of skinny, scrawny people who aren't out to hurt people. They're just punk rock girl, and everyone's just, they're all dancing close to each other, running into each other. It's just a very, like, I love it, you know. And so whenever I would write, you know, especially with the band The Commies, when I would write, it was all about getting that crowd moving. Get it, and then I played so many shows and just nobody would mosh. I feel like Evansville has like a no moshing policy, unless it's their friends. You know, that's what it always ended up being. It's just like if their friends are playing, then there's a mosh pit. But if they don't know you, then they're not gonna mosh. Unless you're the guy from ZXZ, he always danced. So yeah, and so it's, when you're in that position where everyone's just kind of staring at you, it's like, I'll be the monster that you always wanted. Just kind of like, you know, you're going to look at me, you're going to judge me. You know, whatever, I'll be the ugliest thing you've ever seen, if need be. Kind of was like a G.G. Allen sort of take on things. And, yeah, the verses are, I like the line, I never thought I'd see the devil, but now I see his presence everywhere. He lives in the eyes of the vacant. Those numb to the world can inflict the most pain. That's a good line. Good job, Patch Jason. You did a good job with that one. I still stand by that. I don't like cheesy lyrics. I don't like lyrics that, like, after a while it's obvious that this was just like some little thing that, like, okay, I need the end of this line. All right, this rhymes. All right. I don't like throwaway shit. I don't want it to be. And with the, like, funding's been cut, we're losing our minds. Hey, I'm the child you left behind. That's a good line. But though, am I still preaching to the choir when I say I want to set the whole world on fire? Even that, maybe that's okay, but like, it's like set the whole world on fire. That part I'm just like, man, I rate that a 5. I give it a 5 out of 10. The rest of the song I like a lot, but that line, just that little end of the line, just like, I like to be real particular, because I want these to be I always wanted these to be songs that I could sing forever. You know, I know there's a lot of bands get in that mindset. You know, there's this song Going Crazy, which I'm not going to be talking about. I guess I'm only going to go over Play Hard in this video. But the song Going Crazy, you know, like I was practicing, because I don't practice that often singing, so I was singing it in the car, and I just like felt it, you know, like this this welling of emotion, just like, yes, this is how I feel. You know, I'm so tired of bitching, I'm so tired of whining. If I can't change the world right now, I don't see the point of trying. It's just like every line to that song I stand behind. So that's what I want, is for my music to be like that. So I'm glad it's worked out. And so now we're moving on to the Popra. Popra is the second half of Play Hard, which we split up. We always played it as one song. We recorded it as one song. We got charged for it by Mark Meat for one song. That's what I always like to do, is rip off my recording people who record for me. I like to just rip them the fuck off and record multiple songs in the same key and then split them up later. Oh man, I'm a real piece of shit. And so the first song's Junior Year. And like I said, kind of goes along with that, you know, when you get drunk and high with friends. You know, I tripped on a cough syrup with 2 friends one time, and man, we like connected. Like we were on the same page. We kept saying that we're on the same page, you know, and like, after, you know, give it a couple weeks, and it's just like. And then one of them was just like, yeah, I wasn't even high. I didn't even take him. He was fucking with me about it. In my mind, that was like the most connected. That was really like my first glimpse into like truly being with a group of friends that I could connect with and have fun with. It was like, I don't count it as real because we were all really fucked up. But it was like my first like look into the fact that like these were cool guys. These were guys that I considered to be quite cool. And then they started coming forward about like their insecurities, and it's like, oh shit, you know, here I am thinking I'm the only one who's this insecure, and turns out these guys that I don't see any real issues with, you know, they have insecurities too. And so that was really eye-opening to me. But then at the end, it's just like it all just kind of fades away. You know, that connection goes away. And so, yeah. There's that one. Then This Is Not a Threat is just, oh wait, no, then there's what is that one called? It's all called This Is Not a Threat, right? Yeah, if there's at least one thing that I learned from my dad, said if I hit you once, you'll probably hit me back. My dad hit me a few times pretty seriously. It didn't, I never swung back at him, but it was probably because I knew that if I did, he would kick my fucking ass and not stop. You know, I wasn't gonna beat him. He was, my sister and my dad are a couple scrappy fuckers, man. I don't think that they would go down in a fight. I really don't. I think you'd literally have to knock them out to get them to stop. Yeah, they're pretty scary fucking people. So yeah, there's that. And that Ain't What You Say. That's just catchy, isn't it? And Yuppie Crack. That was pieces from something I had in a notebook from high school. You know, I wrote a lot in high school. I'd say most of Play Hard was probably written in high school or in college. The first 2 years I went to college. Writing in classrooms, yeah, I think that's a big reason I don't write lyrics as much as I used to, is because I don't have as much time sitting in class as I used to. Of just, yeah. So, Yuppie Crack, that's pretty self-explanatory. I like the line, like a leash Windsor nodded to the ground. Good job, Past Jason. That's poetic. That's like, well, I like it when the imagery like wraps around itself, you know what I mean? To where it's like, there's no fluff or bullshit. It's like, it's always like coming at, I like that. So good job, Past Jason. Just about climbing the corporate ladder, man. What a lie it is. And then Behind the Counter is next, and that's, I never actually worked behind the counter at McDonald's, but I worked at McDonald's for about 4.5 years through high school and junior college. And you know, just people are shitty. People are shitty to food service workers. So that's about that. And then Your God Sucks is an interesting little one. I like that one. That was probably one of my favorites off of Play Hard. Yeah, I like it when they're kind of political, but like also kind of personal. The line, who are you just standing? Are you just blocking my light? Is kind of interesting because when I think about it, I think about like when people would play Game Boys at recess. Like they'd be playing the Game Boy at recess and they'd need the light. But if someone was standing over and be like, "You're in my light." People don't say that anymore because all the screens are lit up. But it used to be, you'd stand there and like, you'd have to catch the sunlight just right so it'd be like perfectly lit up. I guess technically that could apply to reading, but it's like, are you just blocking my light? is a Game Boy reference. An old Game Boy Color or a Game Boy Advanced reference. And yeah, that's a good one. Good job, Past Jason. And the "your God sucks" isn't even necessarily like an atheistic thing to say. It's kind of a take on the George Carlin line where it's just like, my God has a bigger dick than your God. That sort of idea of my God is you know, this is my God, your God's not right. It's like, well, your God sucks, you know, my God's what's right. But when I say your God sucks, I mean sort of a, it kind of goes along with the yuppie crack kind of thing. Like, your God is money, your God is the corporate ladder, your God is, you know, success. Yeah, well, your God sucks. And so, you know, I actually, let's not get into religion. Let's not make this uncomfortable. But let's just say you need Jesus, is what I'm trying to tell you. Is that you need Jesus, because let's just not get into this right now. You can check out my channel, the Church of Postmodern Christianity. Why'd that get all bright for a second? I guess it got darker. Check out my my vlog, the Church of Postmodern Christianity, if you want to check out some Jesus banter. So yeah, did that car just honk at me? I'm going 50, but I'm making a vlog right now. I'm streaming right now. All right, so what's next? See. Then it goes into that little instrumental part, the reprise as it would be called, right? And then it goes into Losing Faith, which was originally, the words for it were for the girl I dated in high school. I wrote that for her, and about her and things. And I went, if you leave me, I guess I'll be okay. And if you need me, I'll be there right away. And if you can't think of anything to say, just hold my hand and I can just fill in the blanks. That's a damn good line. And, you know, if a guy writes that to you, you probably shouldn't fucking dump him because he doesn't want to quit smoking weed. Because I guarantee you, weed's the only reason he was able to write that shit. No, I wasn't smoking weed when I was dating her, actually. But, oh man. But so I changed the words, and it's just more of a, my whole idea of writing with Yellow Belly was to take the personal and political and kind of like, that was weird. That was weird. If Vic Berger did a comic, be like, yeah, if you mix them together, right? The personal and the political, just kind of like the personal's effect on the person. The political spectrum and the political events effect on the personal life, and so yeah, that's kind of where that's coming from, and just sort of about performing in general. Also kind of a call to Evansville as well, because like I said, it didn't really seem like it was that receptive, you know. I mean, it was, but like I wanted it to be like an orgiastic, just like Yellow Belly is God, and it was like I felt kind of underwhelmed, you know. When in reality, it's like the music scene. I mean, really, music scenes are really usually just groups of friends. Like, let's be honest. Like, there is no like. I think that game Guitar Hero kind of fucked me up because it made me think, you know, you play in the basement, then you get invited to the bigger show, and then you get invited to the bigger show. But that kind of hierarchy doesn't really. It does, but it doesn't. Like, not in real life. Like the taxpayers say, you know, if you ain't got the money, you better have the looks and you better have the time. And that's kind of relevant to the music industry. It's not like I wasn't even participating in the music industry. I was like being invited. Transmission slipped. I was trying to get out of the way of that big old tanker, four-way. Just like almost like crashing other people's parties. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't playing like the industry. It's just the scene, and the scene is usually just friends. You know, that's what I've come to realize. And I was bitter about it. Oh, I forgot Tip the Balance. I'll get to that one in a second. I'm stupid. I forgot Tip the Balance. But yeah, it's just like I almost was kind of bitter about it. Just like, well, this isn't even a scene. This is just a group of friends, and if you're not in with the in-group, then you don't get to play in front of the crowd. Just like, it's just the people who went to Evansville, you know, that was how they built their friend group, was playing music in high school and building that community. And then they just carried it through, and you know, I busted in from Southern Illinois, just like, recognize me as great, and didn't always work. And I mean, it's like I made connections. I went to Matt Glick's house and recorded Nobody's Perfect at his house, and it's like, you know, I made friends and connections and stuff. And Mark Meat recorded with us, so I mean, it's my expectations were very high. Let's just say that, you know. I mean, you know, still, I feel like with the music I make and the music I write, like I do have, it's anthemic. That was always the point, was to make anthems, make something that could be repeated over and over again. You know, like this band All Is Well, they have a song called No More Sad Songs, and like that is an anthem. That chorus is just like, it's great, you know, and it's like, it'll always be great. It's like, that's with the song Repeat, if this is as good as it gets, I'm sorry, but I'll always be trying to improve. That much I'll always promise. You know, you could always say that, you know, that you could say that for every situation, you know. And so that's an anthem, and it's hard to get an anthem, you know. It's hard to get those anthems because it's like with the big block of stone, and you have to chip away all the bullshit, like every word in the English language other than that sentence that's going to like be like, oh damn, you know, and more than just like, tonight, give me everything tonight. Like, that's bullshit, you know. That's gonna get old. You know, I didn't want anything that's gonna get old. And so, anthems. Can you hear me? Can you feel me? Is your mind picking up on the signal I'm feeding? Yeah. And so, speaking of anthems, moving on to spider webs, which is, let's just say, my finest creation. I don't know if that's true. It's just about growing up, you know. And I had one friend who's just like, well, did you really see a spider outside your window and get inspired by that? It's like, well, I mean, I've seen a spider outside my window. I really don't know where that one came from, you know. Just with, you know, When We Come Back, Wake Me Up Last, that is kind of a reference to partying and being with the group of friends. I mean, in high school I partied, you know, I had a group, but there was no like real connection. You know, it's like I'd go, and it's about the kind of just about what we were drinking, what we were smoking. It wasn't really like a real connection, and that's how I got turned. You know, if it was real, if there were people who really cared about me, they wouldn't have let me do as much air duster as I did in high school. They wouldn't have let the younger people that were hanging out with them eat as much of that, or take as much cough syrup as they did. You know, it was always just about like getting fucked up. It was never really about like, you know, you're my friend and I can rely on you. Not like George, you know, and Dalton. You know, those dudes, like, you know, like I lost my license. Most of the time those guys, I think most of the time those guys have known me. I haven't had a license. And so like those guys drove me everywhere. They fucking drove me everywhere. You know, and if there was something going on in Benton, then like they were coming to my house all the way in the boonies. Probably took them 40 minutes to find my house every time. And they're always, you know, it's like, well, we have to go get Jason. You know, it's like I was a part of the group. You know, it wasn't complete to them if I wasn't there. And so it's just like, it wasn't always like that. You know, it's just like, oh, you can't make it. Sorry, bub. No, we can't go out and come get you. You know, and these are people who live in town. You know, they wouldn't go out of their way to make sure that I was included. Whereas these guys would go to a completely different town just to get me. You know, so that was friend groups. You know, having people to depend on. Didn't have that in high school. And that's probably a large reason, you know, that Freak was a thing, you know, because in McLeansboro High School, it was like you were either there or you won't, or you won't, or you weren't, you know. You were either a part of that epic party or you weren't, you know. And if you were a part of that epic party, then it's like you and the other people had something to connect over. It's like, remember, we were at that party, that was really cool. And if you weren't, then you weren't. And you know, even in junior high, it's like there were all these crazy parties going on. I don't know if there was drinking going on at them, but like they were having these like ragers at this one girl's house that my friend was dating. Like I guess her mom wasn't there or didn't care. There were a bunch of kids acting a fool. Well, like some chick got peed on. Like it was the same guy who peed on the girl whipped his tiny micro penis out and was like stabbing it with a pin and like shoving it inside of himself. Crazy times. They had a snowball fight in the garage or something, or in the basement. Like all these crazy parties were going on. I was missing them, you know. And then they'd come back and they'd talk about them, and I was like, oh, I don't ever get to be part of the party because my parents actually care about me and don't want me going hanging out with a bunch of fucking heathens, a bunch of fucking delinquents. Oh man. So yeah. And then Tip the Balance is inspired by when I lost my license, and just like every challenge becomes one of 1,000. You know, like when you tip the balance, every challenge, it's like that's, you know, when you push things, you start getting your privileges from society taken away, everything piles up. It's like the same with like being poor. You know, I have been poor before. I was raised in a very big house. My parents have always taken very good care of me. They bought me the car that I'm driving in right now. But when I had my kid, and we spent a couple years there, we were living in fucking squalor, in a house filled with mold, leaky roof, not enough bedrooms, bed bugs. Y'all don't want bed bugs, let me tell you that. And if you do get bed bugs, don't let Orkin take care of it. As a matter of fact, don't let anybody take care of it. Just burn the house down. Who actually got rid of the bed bugs? How did we get rid of the bed bugs? Did we just move? I think we ended up just moving. And then you just heat up all your clothes in the dryer. And there's heaters you can buy. I would recommend doing that. I think if you spend like $2,000, you can get these heaters that heat up the house to like 120 degrees, and then the bugs die at that heat. And so just buy those, and then you can open your own bed bug extermination business. And you can just fry out everybody's bed bugs. So that'd be my advice to you. But yeah, and so it's just, man, that was a rough time, man. Not being able to drive even, you know, I couldn't drive, and I couldn't go get a better job. Like I just got this job now. It's gonna pay me with a temp agency, not even directly hired to the company, but with a temp agency, I'm making baseline pay is $13 an hour, and that's with no factory experience at all. It's just the fact that I am a breathing, functioning human being that I can go get this job. And you know, that's what I would have done if I'd been able to drive and I'd had my daughter. But instead I was, man, it was rough. And like Tip the Balance was, I guess probably written before I even went through that, but it's remained true. And that's the thing about writing these songs as well. I'll say this in closing because we're done with Play Hard. I'll have to do Who Cares and Sidewalk songs later. But you know, that's the thing about writing these songs, and the songs that I have written that I haven't even recorded yet, is like I'll have a feel. I'll have a feel, and usually, you know, you write in negative times because it's about connecting with people. You want to know that your negative feelings you're not alone. You know, that's important, is to feel like you're not alone. You know, that was a big motivation behind writing pretty well all of Play Hard. It's just, I have these shitty feels. Do you know what I mean? And a lot, you know, I've gotten a lot of feedback, people being like, you know, I get this, you know, and that's been very validating. And so, and I recommend you, you know, just like find whatever makes you feel validated. Do whatever, because like nobody can take away Play Hard. Nobody can take away the fact that George, whenever, you know, he, you know, I gave him and a bunch of other people in that group a bunch of copies of Play Hard. And you know, he said that when he'd wake up, he had gone down a rough path. He had made some bad decisions by the time I had met him. But when I met him, he was trying to get back on his feet. He was trying to go back to school, trying to do better, you know. And he said, you know, when he'd wake up, he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to go to school. He didn't want to do that. But he thought to himself, you know, at least I get to listen to Play Hard on the way to school. And nobody can take that away from me. Nobody, because someone could be like, oh, you suck, you know. People be like, you know, your band sucks, you're delusional, you don't have what it takes. But it doesn't matter, because a guy I respect a great deal found a lot of value in it, and it gave him strength. And that's true for other people. I know there are other people that, I mean, fuck, Play Hard has been downloaded 200 times off Bandcamp at this point. So 200 people have downloaded that album, and so people like it. It's something people listen to. People do see the value in it, and nobody can take that away from me. You know, I'll always have that. And so, but just you'll know, you know, just meditate on what it is that you want to accomplish. What's going to validate you? You know, whether it's art or even just like, there has to be something, you know? Even if it's fucking yo-yo tricks, you know? There's got to be something that you can accomplish, and at the end of the day, you can look back at, you know, you ever read the Dark Tower series? At the end of the Dark Tower, he gets to the Dark Tower, and when he goes through it, it's like almost like a museum of his life's journey. And I feel like, you know, that exists, whether it's in your mind, maybe in some other realm. There's a museum of you, of your accomplishments, of who you are, and only you will be able to go through it. Nobody else is going to walk through your museum. Only you can go through that museum, through your Dark Tower. And you know, it's up to you to line the walls of that thing with accomplishments that you feel good about, even if it's just raising your family. You know, that's very important for a lot of people. I wasn't a family man. I wasn't a family-oriented man whenever I wrote pretty well everything that I've written. You know, ever since having a kid, I don't really know what I've written. I've written one song, and it goes, "Dope sick by the altar with poison as our only faith." Like, that's like the only line I've written. It's a song about redemption, and I'm gonna flex my Ian MacKaye impression when I sing that. But I haven't written lyrics, you know, because I haven't had that. Because when you're single and you don't have a family, with family, there's like this instant validation. You look at your family, if your family's still together, which, I mean, if you just look to your kids, you know, there is validation, and if the why is good enough, a good why can justify any how. That's what I've heard recently, is it, if the why is good enough, it'll justify any how. So you can work, you know, with this factory job I've got, it might break me. It might literally break my brain, break my fucking body. I might fucking hate myself every day I get off work, but the why justifies how, and I don't think I'll succumb to that negativity, you know, because I have a why, which is my family, which is supporting them, making sure that they are able to survive, that we have a nice place to live. And so that's my why now. But it used to be playing shows. It used to be, you know, it's like, this is kind of morbid, but there's plenty of times where I was just like, man, I'd really like to fucking kill myself, but I got a show coming up in a month, so something good might happen then. Something good might occur. You know, something that I'll wish I'd been around for. So I better, you know, stay alive. You know, instead I'll just write a song about how I feel. And that'll validate how I feel, because somebody else probably feels that way, and we can connect over that. What the fuck is this guy doing? Oh, that's the mailman. I was like, I thought that was Gabe walking out on the road to go to the mail truck. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Just wait for them to come to the door. Alright, so anyway, this has been my liner notes and pep talk of Play Hard. Just play hard, guys. Just Do what you need to do, and just do it good. Just get good and do it good. And yeah, I love you. That was weird. I want to say something just positive. I want us to connect. I want us to really have a moment, just a genuine, just have a genuine moment. Just you and I. Let's just have a holy moment.